I'm Fred McClimans of Samadhi Capital Partners, and on today's Samadhi Brief, we're talking with John Freeman, the Chief Investment Officer of Samadhi Capital, and we're taking a quick look at Apple, namely why we do not own a piece of the Apple forbidden fruit. So, John, you and I have talked about Apple quite a bit of late.
Sure.
It is not a member of our investment portfolio. It is forbidden fruit at this point. And one of the reasons for that is they've underperformed in certain areas of innovation that we anticipated they would over the last 3-4 years.
Right.
What are those three key areas?
So, call it 2012. I was actually excited about Apple because I was kind of projecting what they were going to be able to do with given the increased transistor density with Moore's law, increased processing power, increased memory. You should be able to do all kinds of revolutionize. Whole new markets, not just the phone market, and then they created the tablet market. So I thought for sure they were going to revolutionize the television space. The television needs to be voice directed. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. But where's my Apple TV? I mean, the little box that you attach to your own TV. That's not really what I was envisioning. I'm talking about,
right.
The television is the second largest consumer electronics market. It is a massive, over $100 billion market. So that's one that was teed up. The other one is simply taking an expanded view of the tablet. They actually have a patent on this. So you blow up the tablet. You have enough. Moore's law allows you to have a 17-inch or a 20-inch tablet now, but that's actually really now a computer. And they have it, where they actually have a patent on how you ergonomically design that so that you face down and you look down and you control it as if it's on a surface. So, Microsoft took that and they're actually innovating, and creative professionals are using that now, and that's the new Mac. That's crazy. Why is Apple, the fact that Apple has lost its edge in those two key areas.
And that's not the traditional tablet that we're talking about, which is a different OS and different function and different consumer market for that. We're really talking about here taking a MacBook. And remember the Toshiba with the twist screen on
yes,
there?
I had one of those.
Flap it back over.
I had one of those.
Yeah, I was waiting for that as well. That was an area I was
bulky.
sure they would get into.
Right.
But the idea of having a full suite of enterprise and consumer apps on the MacBook.
Yeah.
Touchscreen to me was great, and they missed that.
The company that created the mouse or that popularized the mouse should be the one that kills the mouse through touch, and they haven't done it, and somebody else is going to do it, and Microsoft is doing it, so it's a little baffling. And then the other area is the entire concept of the enterprise app store, where Apple, for whatever reason, just doesn't seem to want to get back, or it doesn't seem to want to focus on the enterprise, even though the iPhone almost by accident has become kind of the de facto mobile phone and replaced BlackBerry in enterprises all around. But the next step is then you come in with your software. But where is the innovation
they're
there?
missing that. Yeah. They're much more fixated on Apple Music and other areas where they're underperforming. They're underperforming,
and it's not going to move the needle.
Right.
And then the only other thing that they've really gone into, they kind of went too far, in my opinion, is the car. I didn't think that was the right market at the right time to attack for Apple. I thought there was definitely much lower hanging fruit that they could innovate, take risks, and revolutionize some of these stagnated kind of consumer electronics industries, namely the television.
Right. So I agree with you. I think they've underperformed in innovation. I see that more as a symptom of the transition from Steve Jobs, innovator, to Tim Cook, operational executioner.
Yeah, right.
Can I say operational executioner? So they've kind of missed that there for me.
Execution man.
And I'm not expecting that same level of innovation. But from an operational perspective, there are a couple of things that they're working on that actually have me interested in Apple. Not enough to go, this is the next bet here, but at least to keep me interested in watching.
Keep them watching. Yeah.
The first is in the medical space. They've got a fairly robust team of professionals in the medical and healthcare sector. Much more than just the Apple, Watch, little heart monitor and so forth. Which, by the way, though, does outperform the Fitbit
in terms of monitoring your heart.
In terms of monitoring your heart rate there. But so what Apple is doing though is they're getting to the point with the Apple Watch and with some of the pure play Apple medical devices that are currently in trial, where I think they're starting to build out that ecosystem play into the medical space. You've got not just the overperformance of the Apple Watch against against Fitbit. That's great, but you have companies like Aetna, health insurer, now saying yes, we're going to cover partial costs of the Apple Watch because we see medical benefit for it. You see them rolling it out, as well to their internal team. When I start to look at that, I start to get a little excited because if they can establish a small footprint in the medical space, all of a sudden you've got, a sort of an extended ecosystem of medical devices through your iPhone and through your Apple Watch that they can start to build on. And yes, it's risky, it's slow, but I'm very interested in that.
I like it too. I think, but one of the things I would also want to see is for Apple not to give away the most valuable part of that, which is the analytics software. So Apple just can't be like, okay, everybody, we have our watch, we have our little devices and implantables and all this thing. Now go out and they create a platform and they say, go out there and create analytics applications. No, I think Apple has to own that one. And because that's where all the profit is. And so that I could get excited about that, but of course, as we know, the healthcare and the healthcare industry is a highly regulated and relatively slow to adopt a vertical, but it's certainly ripe for innovation.
Sure.
And if the only other sort of reservation I would have, and it's exciting, but Apple would have to be able to. It's going to take some time, and for the foreseeable future, I don't see any revenues from there really moving the needle on a $265 billion revenue base. So.
Right. So the other area that I'm interested in, and first, disclosure up front, I think this year, in terms of announcements with product, I think Apple is intentionally holding stuff back, maybe because it's not quite baked into an apple pie yet, or I think more importantly, they're starting to line up, a larger assault into the augmented reality space. And I'll back that up by looking at the Apple phone and the removal of the headphone jack. So they talked a lot about how, this is about space. They want to get some extra real estate inside the phone. I think it's much more than that. As soon as you put the headphone, the sound capability through the Lightning connector, what you've done is you said, we're now going to go away from, an old analog model of bulky two connector into a digital model multi-connector device, which lines them up really nicely to offer augmented and virtual reality headset gear and other apparel, which, by the way, I see some really interesting value there in potentially, again, ecosystem-oriented play, coming out with an augmented reality play that actually involves the iPhone and the Apple Watch in there, which I think does have some value in terms of gesturing, movement, things of that nature that could really be, intriguing. Again, a little bit of speculation on my part here, but I think that there are enough signs lining up that they're going to make a play in this space, and I want to see what it is. I think it could be interesting.
They're certainly throwing R&D dollars toward it, but they are definitely facing competitors in Facebook primarily. Google as well, that are that have actually been doing R&D in augmented and virtual reality for longer than Apple has, and so this one. Let me put it this way: I think Apple should be there, but there's a lot lower hanging fruit that Apple could have, really kicked ass if they had, now it might be too late to revolutionize the television. Now it's kind of like, okay, I'm not sure like people are going to go be wowed by that, like they were wowed by the tablet, like they were wowed by the iPhone.
TV in my house isn't just second screen; it's third screen. For me. So I agree with you there on that. And there are, though, you mentioned Facebook with Oculus Rift, Facebook getting into hardware. Look at Snapchat rebranding as Snap and coming out with their, what is the name of that little, the Snap goggles?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's interesting to see these companies, they're approaching it from a software services perspective, being forced to get into hardware or acquire hardware. Right. Apple, a little bit different. They're in the position where they have the hardware and it's software development. At least the
expertise.
And they do, Apple does excel at software.
They do.
So
what they really excel at, to be quite specific, is the software-hardware combination, and that sort of interaction. That is where I think Apple adds a lot of value. But like I said, I don't know. Been waiting for them to revolutionize the television and the PC industry as well, and we just don't see it.
So, kind of wrapping up Apple here, we are not taking a bite out of the Apple at this point in time. It's on my watch list. I know it's on yours as a potential short.
We always have to watch Apple. You always have to watch Apple to understand where tech tech is going, at least consumer-facing tech. No doubt about
Excellent.
that.
So, John, thank you.
Thank you.
This is Fred McClimans and John Freeman of Samadhi Capital Partners, and this has been a Samadhi Apple Brief.
Excellent. Thanks, Fred.